one second. And I'm going to kick us off just briefly and then turn over to Kelly to tell you really about our experience with Wonders and Worries. But to get to that point, you have to understand what is my problem. And so I'm 42 now. When I was 37 years old, like most of the guys in this room should have done if you haven't already, go downtown, get yourself a heart scan at the Heart Saver CT to see what your calcium score is. And when I was 37, I came back with a score of 309. You want a score of 0. So I had the average score of the average 74-year-old when I was 37, so exactly twice my age. So I knew at that point I had advanced heart disease and was susceptible to heart attacks or anything like that. So I started taking my statin, and I felt good. I felt, in fact, probably invincible, which is what a lot of you guys feel like right now, and we all are invincible right up until we're not. And the day that I was invincible was on June 25th, 2015, so just over 2 years ago when I was 39, I had a heart attack over in Paris, France. And was surprised, but I knew what was happening because of that calcium score, and was able to get myself to the hospital and get 2 stents that first day in Paris. About 6 months later, that was in June, fast forward to December, I was back in the hospital here in Austin, received 2 additional stents. Fast forward to September a year ago and had my most recent. So I now have 5 stents, am a heart attack survivor, and I probably don't look like your average heart attack guy. I don't smoke, all that kind of stuff. So what we didn't realize, and Kelly's going to talk about this, is how it was impacting our children so much, and what we wanted to do to search for a solution for our kids. We have a gentleman down here at our table, Mr. Ali, who was instrumental in our experience for the past several months, and I'll leave it for Kelly to take it from there with my story.
So I guess we first noticed our need for Wonders and Worries when David was asked to be the keynote speaker for the American Heart Association in May. We were interviewed in our home right before the gala, which they played later, and our children were in school that day, so they didn't get to see the interview until that night. And there was this part in the interview where my voice cracked a little bit, and we're just going to watch that really quick. Just wanted to encourage him, for me just as much as for him, that everything was going to be okay, and I just, I wanted normalcy in our house, especially with our kids. I just, wanted them to know that everything was going to be okay.
Since more than
And so my kids saw that at the gala, and I look over at Weston, our son, who's 11, and he was just sobbing. And I was just really surprised. Because I just didn't know that he was hurting so much. And so I just started asking around because I didn't know what to do, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to give him what he needed. And all my friends told me about Wonders and Worries, everyone. And so I looked it up and I filled out an online application, and Ollie contacted me, and it was really amazing because I got to see God in the details of our life. We spend a lot of our time in France because David's business is there, and my kids speak French, and it turns out Ollie's French, and there's not a lot of French people in Austin, and he also has a passion for tennis, which my children love. So it was really amazing that they had all these connecting points with Ollie, and I really felt like we were exactly where we needed to be under Ollie's care. But it didn't end there because my son Weston is a real high achiever. He's doesn't like to admit weakness.
I've already got.
And so I thought, he's not going to want to go. This is going to be a struggle every week to get him to go to Wonders and Worries, but it just wasn't the case. He loved going. He loved the snacks. He loved Ollie. He loved the activities that they did. And I think what he especially loved is that Ollie created this atmosphere where Weston could ask him any question and know that he could trust the answer that he got and trust Ollie. And Weston loved to come home and do trivia quizzes with us where, you know, he showed us that he knew more about heart disease than we did. And Weston loved coming, and after a few times of coming and bringing Caroline, my 9-year-old, with me, Ollie said, well, what about Caroline? And I was thinking back to the night of the Heart Gala where Weston was sobbing, and Caroline walks up on stage with us, and she says, my friends aren't going to believe it when I tell them that I stood on stage in front of all these people. So I thought, no, Ollie, she definitely does not need it. She's totally good. But I asked her, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to come. So we bring Caroline, and the first time, Ollie just lets her go in the room and play. And she goes straight to the toy hospital, and she just plays with that. And Ollie just lets her kind of sit there for a while and process her thoughts and play. And that was just what she needed. And so I love that Wonders and Worries and Ollie, they just know exactly what our children need, no matter what their personality is, and they give them the space to process in the way that they need to process. Today, my kids are doing amazing, and I attribute all of that to Wonders and Worries. I didn't know this at the time, but looking back, there were all these warning signs, especially with Weston. His grades were falling. He was having a lot of issues socially. He wasn't being the leader that we've always seen him be, and I didn't put those pieces together then, but now, I mean, David and I are blown away. He comes home with his papers, his quizzes and tests, and he gets hundreds on like everything. And he's also just thriving socially right now, and I just want to say thank you to Ollie. I want to say thank you to Wonders and Worries, and I want to say thank you so much to all of you. You've given me and my children the greatest gift, and you've provided something that I could never provide for my children, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for continuing to do this in so many lives of families.
Was he told me to write down a list of things that worry me or cause stress on me. And it took me a while to really think of some things. And then I remember Ollie telling me, he said if it were me, I'd come up with about 30 things in a minute. And so then that really helped me, like, I don't know, it just helped me like think and comprehend my ideas. And so I ended up writing a sheet of about 40, 50 answers, and I think it kind of like helped me, like it kind of lifted the burden off my shoulders. I don't know how that helped, but I think it was a well-planned activity that helped me a lot.
Ollie one day told us to do a little exercise where we would do a little hand plan of ours, and everybody would write something about it, something about you on each finger, like cheerful. Weston gave me that, and I like it because it's a really good compliment. And I gave him leadership because I know he's a really good leader at school. And for my dad, I gave him Goofy because he's really funny and he always makes us laugh. And I gave my mom Kind because she's really kind all the time and always making me feel better.
That was Weston and Caroline in their own words. I wish they could be here today, but we had to make them go to school because they've been sick all week. But thank you, everyone, for being here. You're supporting an amazing organization, and we are personally so grateful for you. Thank you.